Hello, friends. Thank you so much for joining me this Saturday morning. My name is Miguel, and I work at the Aleifa Downtown Public Library. Now, last week we talked a little bit about journal writing and covered a couple exercises to help us with mindfulness and grounding our emotions. Today, we're going to practice self-care with writing letters. Before we begin, I encourage you to remember that self-care is meant to be a healing and deliberate experience. By writing about our lives, we are exercising the creative muscles in our mind in order to help us strengthen our emotional resilience. This means we are often dealing with personal experiences, and that can sometimes get a little uncomfortable. So if you ever feel overwhelmed, it's always okay to take a break. At this time, I'm going to ask you to breathe with me. We're going to go in for 4 and then out for 4. Give yourself permission to relax and quiet your mind for a moment as you focus purely on breathing. This time, I'm going to ask you to breathe in through one nostril and then out the other. We're going to pinch our noses like this, and I'll do it with you. We're going to go in for 4, and out the other for 4. In for 4, and then out for 4. How do you feel? For our exercise today, we're going to personify our anxiety, fear, or grief. We are not writing to the source of those frustrations, but to the emotion itself. Think about the times in your life when you have felt this emotion, when it has been present, and also when it hasn't. Think about why this emotion came into your life and when it started to fade. How often does it stop by? For the purposes of this exercise, we're going to have the 3 following guidelines. Our first one is we're going to try to write to this emotion as if it were an old friend. You and this friend share some memories and experiences. You might have a different recollection of past events than a friend has. Keep that in mind while you write. Our second guideline is that since this is a longer exercise, we want to make sure we set aside time and space before sitting down to write. Set a timer for 40 minutes. Put it on your phone, and then place your phone face down somewhere nearby. Our third guideline, if you're able to, is to wrap up this letter with a brief word of gratitude. Often it is not our emotions that are the source of our pain. They are symptomatic of our own minds trying to keep us safe. Thank the emotion you're writing to for the role they play in your life. Let go of whatever you need to let go of before you write. If you'll let me share, this is a short version of a letter I wrote to grief. Dear Grief, I'm sorry it took me so long to understand you. I took my anger out on you because I was scared when I should have been sitting with you, crying with you, realizing you were only trying to get me to understand something I had lost. I spent so many years running away from you. I blamed you for the wrong things and hid you away when I should have been inviting you in. I understand now that you were never my enemy. You were always a part of me. Thank you for accompanying me when I was hurting. Thank you for being there when I lost my grandfather, when I moved states, when I got sick and changed jobs and lost a friend. I'm trying to learn how to accept you as part of my life. I'm sorry it's taking me such a long time. Grief. We may not always see things the same way, but I am grateful that you have been in my life. I'm grateful to have love with enough weight to feel it when you settle in. I know I will never be rid of you completely. I will always feel some small part of you sitting in my chest, but I'm no longer angry about it. I'm trying to learn to accept you. All my best, Miguel. Hopefully that gives you an idea of the exercise. Feel free to use as many personal details as you wish. Remember, this exercise isn't for a blog or a book. This is for you. You can start writing whenever you're ready. This next exercise is a variation of the first, and it's something you could do with the whole family. All you'll need is a blank piece of paper and some colored pencils, crayons, or markers. First, we're going to draw a few speech bubbles on the blank piece of paper. We're going to make sure that they're big enough to write inside of. Pick whatever color you like and match it with the emotion that you think it looks like. For example, I'm going to use a big spiky bubble to represent my anger, a kind of weird blue blob to represent sadness, and this green wavy unstable one is worry. We're going to write letters saying goodbye to all these bad emotions. For younger kids, this can be a short sentence. For older kids, you can encourage them to write up to a paragraph or for a session of up to 10 to 15 minutes. For example, Dear Anger, Thank you for dropping by, but I don't need you anymore. Dear Sadness, I'll see you the next time I have a rainy day. Dear Worry, I'm trying to be brave. Do you mind coming back a different day? This is a fun way you can talk to your loved one through the emotions you both are experiencing in the moment. These emotions don't have to be bad things and are often helpful for certain situations, but sometimes they overstay their welcome and need to be told when it's time to leave. To wrap things up, please breathe with me one more time. We're going to go in, and then we're going to go out. And out. I hope you are all safe and loved. We will come back next week with more writing for self-care. As always, feel free to share this video. Comment below if you want to share any of your writing from the past couple of weeks or any tips for the ways you've been practicing self-care. If you have any questions at all, we are always happy to help. Thank you so much for tuning in. We can't wait to see you next week.